What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Harry the Horse Barbecue, and today we are making some crispy skin pork belly. That's right, we're gonna season up some pork belly, throw it on the smoker, salt the top to dry out that skin, then throw it in an oven to crisp up that skin, and then we'll slice into the crispiest, smokiest pork belly that you've ever seen. No Hoodoo Brown? Don't frown, the horse has got your back. Let's get it.
Harry the Horse Barbecue.
Now there are a ton of recipes out there that show you how to get the crispiest pork belly skin you could possibly imagine. Most of those recipes involve cooking pork belly in the oven. Now since it's a barbecue channel, we want to get some smoke flavor on that pork belly and not just throw one in the oven. When I went out to Connecticut to visit Hoodoo Brown BBQ, I spoke with Tyler Hodge a little bit about how they actually do their crispy skin pork belly over there, which is their signature dish over at Hoodoo Brown BBQ. Now when talking to Tyler, he said they basically throw the pork belly on the smoker, they salt the top, dry out that skin, they smoke it for about 4 hours. They put that pork belly on a rack and into the oven with a little bit of water in the pan that they put the pork belly on. And they throw it in there until the pork belly is rendered, crispy, tender. And they pair that pork belly with some voodoo sauce. If you haven't seen my trip to Hoodoo Brown BBQ, I highly recommend checking out that video. So I'm feeling inspired. Let's make some of this crispy skin pork belly. Now in order to make this crispy skin pork belly, we gotta go shopping for a pork belly. Let's go. Pork belly. Now here I've got a skin-on center-cut pork belly that I picked up from my guys over at Marble Meat Shop. And you may be wondering, Mr. Horse, why is this pork belly naked? There's no wrap to this because I pulled this out and set it on this wire rack overnight. And you can see this skin is firmed up and dried up a little bit, which will help aid in that crispy skin factor at the end of the day. But this crispy skin pork belly gives us an opportunity to add some flavor to the underside of the pork belly. So enough horsing around, let's get this pork belly onto the rack. Now to make crispy skin pork belly, it's really important to get a pork belly portion with the skin still on. But in this case, with this skin on pork belly, we want to season the meat on the underside and avoid getting any seasoning on the skin. So we have an opportunity to add some amazing flavor to this pork belly while still being able to get that super crispy, glassy crunch on the skin side of this pork belly. To add some extra flavor to this pork belly, I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of a homemade rub that's in this container. Essentially all that's in here is some garlic, some onion, some kosher salt, black pepper, a little bit of white sugar, some paprika, and a little bit of Lowry's. So here we go on with a liberal coating, and I can confirm that Hoodoo Brown does not do this. This is my take on some crispy skin pork belly. I'd say this pork belly at Hoodoo Brown goes on either naked or gets hit with just a wee bit of salt before it hits the smoker, because when I tasted it at Hoodoo Brown, it had a pure porky flavor, a little bit of saltiness and that major crunch from that skin. But making this at home, I'm gonna take the opportunity to add a little extra flavor. A little bit of color, a little bit of sweetness, savoriness, saltiness. This pork belly's looking and smelling beautiful. Let's let this rub sit for a little. This pork belly's all seasoned up and it's ready for the cooker. So let's go, fire up the cooker. Gonna need 2 of these today. Full-blown winter in New York. All right, y'all, the cooker's a little over 200 degrees. We're out here fighting the temperatures, the snow, and the wet wood. My goal is to get this cooker up to about 250 to start this pork belly. But even though this cooker's horsing around, I gotta get that pork belly on. So let's go grab that pork belly and get it on the cooker. Let's go. Hard to run out here when there's so much snow. But we got some crispy skin pork belly coming up for y'all. Let's get it on. Up and under. Okay, we're gonna get this belly on meat side down. So we're gonna give it a flip. Right in the center of the cooker. Now is where the crispy skin aspect comes in. There are multiple ways you could do this. A lot of people like to poke a bunch of holes in the skin of the belly. Some people like to put vinegar on the exterior. All we're gonna do is hit the top of this with a bunch of salt. We're just gonna take this Morton salt and pour a bunch of it over the top. This salt is gonna dry out the skin even more, and it's gonna act like a little snow blanket and protect the skin during the cook so it doesn't get rubbery, doesn't take on too much smoke flavor. That pork belly's looking like it just got snowed on. And that belly is looking pretty perfect up to this point. Now to run this cook, I've got the damper to the smokestack wide open. That pork belly is sitting in the center of the cooker with all of that salt on top to protect it during the cook. And we're ideally running this cook at about 250 to 275 degrees. I'll bring y'all back to check on this pork belly after a couple of hours, but until then, all that's left to do now is close it down. Boom, shakalaka. Really hoping I can make this crispy skin pork belly just as good as they do at Hoodoo Brown. Do. Hoodoo? Do rhymes with blue. What's that? You see a blue? Where? Somewhere down there is our blue. Nothing says barbecue like a crisp cold Canadian Pilsner. I knew all this snow was good for something. Keeps the blues cold. All right, y'all, we're about 3 hours in on this crispy skin pork belly, and I am super surprised that I've been able to build a coal bed big enough to burn this wood and run temps between 250 and 275. Those are the temps that Tyler Hodge told me that they run at Hoodoo for this crispy skin pork belly. So let's see how we're doing 3 hours in. Pork belly's looking good, and you can see this salt has created a really nice barrier. After about 3 hours, that skin is looking pretty dry, not looking too bad. All right, let's see what we're rocking. 140, looks like we're still in the 130s to 140s in most places. We're gonna continue to rock this pork belly at about 250 to 275 degrees. Once this pork belly hits about 160 to 170 internal, I'll bring y'all back for when we knock off the salt and we throw it in the oven to crisp up that skin. But until then, let's close it down. Boom. That went all down my back. After 4 hours in the smoke, this pork belly is looking sweet. As you can see, this skin has dried out quite a bit, but was protected by all that salt. And the underside of this belly is looking smoky, and it's smelling so good from that homemade rub. You can just tell the skin wants to crisp up. I'm gonna place this into my oven, which is running at about 380 degrees. I'm also gonna pour some water in the bottom of the pan to help keep the meat moist during this process. So I'll meet y'all back when this skin is crisp and we're ready to crunch on in. While our pork belly's resting, let's try making some voodoo sauce, which in this case is just gonna be a pretty standard pico de gallo. That looks beautiful. And after about an hour and 20 minutes in the oven and a 30-minute rest, this crispy skin pork belly's ready to go. Just take a look at that puff daddy. Let's crack on in. I'd say she's crispy. Ooh, that's a lot of crunchiness. I mean, it's so crunchy, it formed its own cave. Ooh, crawl inside this pork belly. Oh yeah, that's crispy. Tell you what, this pork belly is juicy. Now that is the money section right there. Whew, look at that crispy skin, that fatty pork. I don't even know how I'm gonna eat this, but let's give it a shot. Oh man, that's good. Wow, that is unreal. I know y'all can hear that shattering of that pork belly skin. We definitely achieved some crispy skin pork belly. All right, y'all, I cannot lie, while filming the initial taste test, my camera died. It was getting late, so I packed up this pork belly, and then to reheat it, I just threw it in my toaster oven to re-crisp up that skin, and I'd say it reheats pretty well, but it's definitely not gonna dry any of this pork belly out and keeps it crispy. Just listen. Oh my goodness. No lacking any crispiness there. Now I know I'm gonna title this video something along the lines of, this may be the best bite in barbecue. And that's because this may be one of the best bites I've ever had in barbecue. This crispy skin is something that pork belly desperately needs. When smoking a pork belly, the texture becomes all the same. The crisping of this skin adds a textural difference that makes this a lot more tolerable and like you could eat a lot more of it. Again, I know that this is not the way Hoodoo Brown does their voodoo sauce, but this pico de gallo is gonna add some amazing freshness to this dish. And I know you're saying to yourself, Mr. Horse, why in the world would I be putting pico de gallo, let alone any kind of vegetable, on my pork belly? I'm telling y'all, don't sleep on this combo. It works so well. A little pico. It adds some acidity, some additional crunch, some spice, freshness. Oh man, that is such a legit bite, but all the acidity from the lime, the tomato, cuts through all that fattiness, and it is just so delicious. This pork belly is not horsing around. It's got that crispity crunch. Fatty, crispy, tender, a little bit smoky. That rub we hit this with is perfect. Y'all gotta try this out. This crispy skin pork belly is so good, I just can't stop. Little homemade pico on there. That's the bite right there. Such a unique twist on barbecue, but one of the best bites out there. And I'm not horsing around when I say that. Hold your horses. This crispy skin pork belly is ridiculous. And ridiculously crispy. This crispy skin pork belly method is actually really simple to do, and it combines a multitude of flavors and textures into one dish. You get the smokiness from smoking that pork belly, a little bit of sweet and savoriness from that homemade barbecue rub, then you get that crispy, salty texture on the outside of that skin, and then pair that with an acidic, fresh, homemade pico de gallo. You can't go wrong with that crispy skin pork belly. Hello. And this is pretty much how they do it at Hoodoo Brown. They will cube it up like this and serve it to you in like these 1 by 1 inch cubes. My belly is full of some belly, so I'm gonna have to go sleep off this crispy skin belly and dream of some crispy lyrics. Whoa, that crispy skin is like melatonin. Cool. We got that crispy skin, and when you bite on in, it's super juicy, and you know that skin be shattering. Pork belly for the win, I'll keep on diving in. Bet your bottom dollar I'll be making this again. Pork belly tasting right, that crunch is out of sight. And if it's up to me, then I'll be eating this all night. We did the Hoodoo Brown, hit that sub button now. Like the sausage king of Connecticut, I'ma wear the crown. Thank y'all for tuning in to Harry the Horse Barbecue. I really appreciate you checking out this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Every subscription really helps me out. You know we got that crispy skin on the outside of this pork belly, so go ahead and leave a like on this video. Leave a comment down below if you've tried crispy skin pork belly before. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we're posting new content, and you can follow me on Instagram at Harry the Horse Barbecue. Tag me so I can see what y'all are cooking, because it really inspires me to get outside and cook. And with that being said, there's only one more thing, y'all. This one is going straight to the horse's mouth. We'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.